Hello, business family. Welcome once again to the business of Black business. Now, when someone mentions Black enterprise to you, what do you think of? For me, it's quality programming. It's information that I can trust. It's aspirational articles about people and things that are relevant to me. Now, when you mention Black enterprise or Alfred Edmond, you actually have my attention, and I hope I have yours today. So I want you to tune into this. Don't miss this. My name is Jay Reynolds. This is a business of Black business. I own Wolf Creek Consulting. We are a top-ranked executive staffing firm. This is the business of Black business. It's a show that's designed to help Black entrepreneurs and would-be business owners start and scale a business. More than anything else, it's a unique opportunity to gain access to really successful business owners and people and thought leaders to hear who they are and how they did it. Today, I want you to meet Alfred Edmond, the SVP Executive Editor of Black Enterprise. Alfred, it's so great to see you again. I've been looking forward to this conversation. How are you?
I'm doing really well, Jay, and likewise. It's been a minute, but I'm glad I'm back, and I'm glad we're talking today.
Hey, I'm glad. Hey, dude, I know you wear a whole lot of hats, and I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. Not only with Black Enterprise, but I know that you're a success coach and you do a number of things outside of that with health and wellness. And we'll drill down into some of that stuff. But thank you very much for being here. Now, Black Enterprise is really no stranger to our community, right? Back in the day, I was thinking about that, 10 years ago. So, you had to have a Black Enterprise on your coffee table, to have some street cred, right? To say that I'm a learned man. So I really think it's a cool thing, and it's always been a cool thing, and continues to be a cool thing to be associated with you guys. Tell us your story. Who are you and why? Who were your mentors?
Well, that's great, and we have to do as quick a job as possible. I'm in my 38th year. Or going into my 38th year at Black Enterprise. So I've been there a long time, doing a lot of great things. Former editor-in-chief of the magazine for 13 years, the first editor-in-chief of blackenterprise.com, the first chief content officer as the media business has evolved. But it all started for me. I was born and raised in a working poor household and working class community in a town called Long Branch, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. Great upbringing. Went off to college at Rutgers University, where my degree is actually in studio art. I did not know I was going to end up becoming a journalist until I was 3/5 of the way through college, but earned my degree at Rutgers. I'm still a passionate and active alumni of Rutgers University. Began my career ultimately in Brooklyn, New York, as the editor of a Black newspaper that was then called Big Red News, eventually became the New York Beacon. Kind of got my name on the map as a young upcoming journalist and editor. That was obviously a long time ago in the 80s, in my early 20s. Ooh, it feels like just yesterday.
Right. We tend to date ourselves, right?
Yeah. Eventually made my way to where I was really trying to go, which was my first magazine, a magazine called Modern Black Men, which was a fashion lifestyle magazine for Black men. That theme of championing and the image of Black men carries forth through my career, as we'll get into later. My original career objective was to get to become the first Black editor at GQ or Esquire, because I've always had a passion for style and fashion. Came to Black Enterprise after my year at NBM as a junior editor and build and accumulate multi-generational wealth. That has not changed, and it will never change. What has changed is how we do it, and we were talking about before we came on air, some people still think that they see a Black Enterprise magazine, and I'm like, no, it's been nearly a decade since we published a physical magazine. We are now a digital video, multimedia, digital media company and live events, which we've always been doing since the 90s. But we're still doing it to serve the exact same mission. And I tell people, it's like we're still in the music business. We just aren't doing it on vinyl records anymore. We're doing it for streaming content, but the mission is still the same. And it's a mission that I proudly serve.
Got it. Hey, that is amazing, that the stability and the continuity of all of these years. I want to ask you something about yourself personally, because as people are watching this show, they really want to know a little bit about who you are. If you weren't who you are today, what vocations would you have chosen, and why did you find yourself here? You talked about it a little bit more, in the very beginning, but tell me a little bit more about that. Who would you be if you weren't who you are today?
Well, my identity starts with me being a man of faith, of Christian faith. And most of what's happened in my life was not my plan, because based on my plan, I'd probably be an art teacher in my hometown high school, which is not a bad thing. Proud of my hometown, great upbringing. Nothing wrong with being an art teacher at your high school. But based on what was on paper, based on my background, based on my upbringing, if you were to draw out what my future could be predicted to be, I'd say I would have went off to college, probably more locally even than Rutgers, and came back to my hometown. My mother would have been very happy if I'd come back home and just, not going to New York, because she wasn't necessarily happy about that. But a number of things happened along the way, turning points. Again, beginning with my Christian faith, that let me know at certain points that these were things that I either needed to do or wanted to do in following that. So in fact, one of the other things, as you talked about, I do a variety of other things. I also host a show called Be Lifted Up Radio on the Mocha Podcast Network. This is outside of my work with Black Enterprise. That is a faith and finance show that talks about the practical application of faith in business and in money and in career and in
Very
life.
Spiritual guy. Yeah, based on everything I know about you and read about you and watched you work, I'll follow you on all kinds of means, but you're a very spiritual guy.
That's from day one, from birth, and before. I mean, I'm the grandson of a pastor, so all that comes naturally. But the other major things people know I'm passionate about, I'm serious about mentorship. I've been mentoring since I was in my early 20s because I felt under-mentored as a young person. I have an army of mentees in all kinds of spaces. I just finished my third cohort as a mentor for Reynolds Black Ambition Prize competition literally last week.
Wow.
So I'm passionate about mentorship. I'm also passionate, both professionally and personally, about health as a wealth priority for Black people. Health is
well,
wealth.
You know what? We're going to need to take a break real quick, but that's exactly what I want to drill down into when we come back. When we come back, let's talk about Black Men Excel, and we're going to talk a lot about mentorships and how that's important and how that's able to help to grow our community. Okay, so we'll be right back, and we'll drill down into that, Alfred.
The November 5th general election. It's your voice and your vote. So make it count. Request your vote by mail ballot before October 24th. Easily track and confirm your vote online. Take action at miamidade.gov/vote by mail or call 311.
We're made, surrounded, and thrown into it, fed, energized, and supported by it. Water makes everything possible, from the very firsts to the everyday, during the make or breaks, or after lazy days, for the dreams come true, and everything in between. Because water is life.
Hi, I'm William Barrett, the CEO of Able Business Services. We are proud to be the sponsor of the Business of Black Business. Able Business Services is a family-owned and operated business with more than 30 years of experience. We are proud to be South Florida's choice for commercial business and residential services.
I grew up down here in South Florida, so for me, it's a little bit more personal.
For the Desmond & Dover Law Firm, it's about community.
For us, South Florida's our home. You all are our people.
Our family, our future.
The difference we'll make for you, your loved ones, your kids, matters, because to us, it's personal.
If you need us, call us 24/7 at 866-954-MORE.
That's 866-954-6673. Desmond & Dover Law Firm, youraccidentattorneys.com.
Welcome back. And Alfred, I'm really interested personally about talking about Black Men Excel. On a personal note, I had some plans that was scheduled a long time ago for that weekend. I canceled those plans to make sure that I'm going to be there. So Talk about Black Men Excel and tell us what we can expect from this premier event that has evolved that has evolved over time that focuses on Black men and our experiences.
Well, the top line is the Black Men Excel Summit will take place November 6th through 8th at the JW Marriott Turnberry Convention Center and Resort in Miami, November 6th through 8th. And it is the premier event for the professional development and advancement of Black men in corporate America. We're talking about S&P 500 companies primarily, and also for entrepreneurs who want to meet Black male decision makers and other decision makers in corporate America. This is our 8th year doing the event. We have sessions on everything from leveraging artificial intelligence to boost your career, to what does it mean to get on corporate boards, to what does it mean to be prepared for your performance review so you can get the level of promotion and advancement that you want. How do you network in the organization? How do you secure sponsorship and mentorship? It's designed for the advancement of Black men in corporate America so that it can feed into the advancement of Black people as a whole. And it is a legitimate professional development event, meaning most of the men who are attending, not all of them, many of them are being sponsored by their corporations as a professional development opportunity for their executives.
I got to tell you, it's an amazing event. And you're walking down the halls and you're seeing people that you know, books, authors of books that you've read, right? And people that are thought leaders in industries and in your industries and philanthropists. I got to tell you, I was walking down the hall and I met one of my mentors, rest in peace, Bill Picard, and I hadn't even known Bill was going to be there, right? And on and on and on and on and on. It's just an amazing event. And I want to talk a little bit more about that whole thing that you talked about, mentorship. How important, and I know this is kind of a softball question for you, but I really want you to talk about this for people that are listening to you. How important is it to give back to the Black community, and what ways are you personally making that happen?
Well, let me start with what you just hit on. People like Bill Picard, again, may he rest in peace. We just lost him this past year.
Absolutely.
That the Black Men Excel brings in the greatest of us, the best of who we are. So we kick it off with our Xcel Awards. We've honored everybody. This year we're honoring the real estate mogul Don Peebles, PepsiCo Foods North America CEO Stephen Williams, D.L. Hughley, the comedian, king of comedy, radio host, TV host, producer, as well as Ed Gordon, the legendary broadcast journalist Ed Gordon, who's been a big part of Black Men Excel since the beginning. So it's the CEOs and the C-suite executives that you would normally have no access to.
Absolutely. Zero.
Pouring into up-and-coming executives and even younger entry-level executives, which speaks to your point of mentorship. The goal is for each of us to pour into each of us so that we can move together through that process. And that's what mentorship is all about. It's about, what can I pour into you, Jay? What can you pour into me? What can we pour into each other so that we can each achieve our respective goals collectively? And so, as you know, I'm very passionate about mentorship. And mentorship and creating mentorship and sponsorship opportunities is a critical part of the mission of Black Men Excel, to bring these men together to support one another in their career and business objectives.
Well, I got to tell you, we'll talk a little bit more about that, because I want to know about how you mentor people personally and in and out of the companies that you're a part of. Let's talk a little bit about that. But one of the things I was going to say before we move on to your talking about that is that people have to understand, entrepreneurs and people that are looking to be entrepreneurs have to understand that they have to be there to play, right? You have to be in the game. You have to actually invest in yourself. Quick story. I don't miss these things whenever they're in anywhere close to me. I don't miss them purely because of the fact that I'm always trying to invest in my business and invest in myself. The first time I ever went to the very first one, I met a guy from FedEx. Talked to him several times. We talked several times after that weekend, and within 3 months, I had a national contract with FedEx. Yes. That's how this works. And it's an investment. You don't necessarily go into this thing thinking that you're going to get something, but you certainly have to be there in order to to be a part of that whole experience. So let's talk a little bit more about things that you do in and out of your companies to actually mentor folks.
Well, let me just pick off. You hit the nail on the head, and let me give props to FedEx because they've been the whole sponsor of Black Men Xcel since the beginning. But what we realized in the 80s and 90s, not just at Black Enterprise, but in Black business in general, is that your biggest customers, if you're talking about building multi-million-dollar and billion-dollar companies, are not just going to be individuals, it's going to be other companies. And therefore, you need to have direct access to decision makers at large corporations in order to grow the kinds of businesses that are scalable beyond being able to serve individual customers. Black Men Xcel is important, just like our Women of Power Summit for Black women that we do every year, because it gets you in the room. Like you said, you met a key executive of FedEx. There are probably 15 different major corporations. They're in the room because they want to connect with talent that they can do business with. Yep. And so you're right. Maybe the majority of attendees are people who are just trying to move up the corporate ladder, but many entrepreneurs say, listen, I could finally get in the room with someone from FedEx, someone from, travel, somebody from, JP Morgan Chase, whatever the company is, and actually meet with somebody who will have the conversation with me that could lead somewhere. But like you said, it's an investment in yourself. It's an investment in what you're doing, whether it's your career or your business, because business gets done by working with other people.
Wow. I guess you said it 100%. Now, I interrupted your thought. Did you have something else that you want to add on to that, Alfred, before we move on to the next? It
goes back to your point about mentorship. And people kind of think of mentorship as a kind of a nice to do. Mentorship is network building. Yeah. Mentorship is being able to invest in the success of other people who can down the line in some other way that you can't predict, invest in your success. I have an army of mentees now over the last 35 years who pour as much into me as I pour into them. And so when you're talking about how business is successfully done, what we're creating at Black Enterprise and Invest Like Black Men Xcel is just the same thing that all business is done this way. Everybody goes to conferences to build these connections. It's just that traditionally Black people have been isolated from these environments.
We have been, we've been on the outside looking in. You're exactly right.
So, but you got, like you said, but you got to be willing to say, I'm going to take the time. I'm going to change my schedule as you did. I'm going to pay for this registration. I'm going to take the hotel. If you need a hotel, you're local, so you may not need that. I'm going to make this investment so that I can be in the room with the kinds of people that I can do business with or advance my career with.
Right. Exactly. Tell me a little bit about something that you would say in the next minute. Give me an example of what you believe to be your number one greatest professional accomplishment. Before we go to break, we got about a minute before we go to break.
Well, I can be really quick because it drives everything that I do for Black Enterprise and outside of Black Enterprise. We measure our success, and I measure my success by the success of the people that we encounter through our work. Our definition of success for Black Men Xcel, yes, of course, we want people to register. Yes, of course, we want to make sponsorship money. But what we're being measured by is that when we come back to Black Men Xcel in 2025, how many stories are we going to hear about people that says, yep, I was a senior VP, but now I'm the CEO. I was a junior manager, but now I'm leading a division. I came in and I came out with this contract. My business was a $2 million business. It's now a $10 million business. That's how we measure our success. That's what keeps us excited at Black Enterprise.
And you have and you certainly have a bunch of those stories. But we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about that commitment that you have to the Black and minority-owned businesses, because people need to hear that story as well. We'll be right back.
The November 5th general election. It's your voice and your vote. So make it count. Request your vote by mail ballot before October 24th. Easily track and confirm your vote online. Take action at miamidade.gov/vote by mail or call 311.
We're made, surrounded, and thrown into it, fed, energized, and supported by it. Water makes everything possible, from the very firsts to the everyday, during the make or breaks, or after lazy days, for the dreams come true, and everything in between. Because water is life.
the largest black-owned employer and one of the largest privately owned black businesses in South Florida. We want to do business with you.
I grew up down here in South Florida, so for me, it's a little bit more personal.
For the Edmond and Dover Law Firm, it's about community.
For us, South Florida's our home. You all are our people.
Our family, our future.
The difference we'll make for you, your loved ones, your kids, matters, because to us, it's personal.
If you need us, call us 24/7 at 866-954-MORE.
That's 866-954-6673. Edmond and Dover Law Firm, youraccidentattorneys.com.
Welcome back, business family. We're talking to Alfred Edmond of Black Enterprise and Xcel, the Xcel Summit. We got a few more minutes left, and I want to talk about what's next for you, Alfred. Talk to us a little bit about some of the projects that you're working on today. And again, dude, you wear a lot of hats. You have a whole lot of things going on, and all somebody's got to do is track you on LinkedIn or anything like that, and your name pops up a million times. So you have a lot of stuff going on. But tell us about some of the projects that you're working on and some of the things that you're proud of.
Well, again, Black Men Xcel is like so front of mind that I'm focused on that. But as you say, I host a show called Be Lifted Up Radio. I'm very passionate about faith and finance. I'm very passionate about our Black Enterprise Health as Wealth franchise, because Black people cannot build wealth if we're either too sick or we're dying prematurely. That's the biggest ceiling on our earning capacity, is that we don't live long enough, we're not healthy enough. So I'm very passionate about that. I'm a natural bodybuilder, my chosen sport, my amateur sport. So you see some of the trophies over my shoulder. So I'm living it. I'm also passionate about health because it's been 15 years since I received the prostate cancer diagnosis. Mm-hmm. And that also drives my passion. There's a webinar at blackenterprise.com now that just went live recently about prostate cancer in Black men and how we can reduce the rates of that. And
it's a silent killer among our community, because we just don't go to the doctor. And by the time we go to the doctor, it's just too late, you know?
Yeah. Well, that webinar we just did, again, you can find it at blackenterprise.com or following any Black Enterprise socials. You know, like you said, I'm into so many different things. I'm passionate about mentorship. I got a book that's going to drop soon. I've been working on it. So keep an eye out for that. But again, if you like you said, follow me on social, you won't miss anything. LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at Alfred Edmond Jr. everywhere. But more importantly, come see me, meet me at Black Men Xcel, November 6th through 8th in Miami. You know, you won't regret it. It's no event like it, and you want to come back. Jay, you've been there before, and you're ready to go back.
I won't miss it. Anytime, there's no way I'm going to miss it. And bottom line is this: I look forward to seeing you in person, so I could buy you tall Coca-Cola. Looking forward to spending some time with you. I want to give you the last word.
Yes.
What advice would you give to someone, small business or whatever, that you think would be important for them to know?
It's important to not allow yourself to become isolated. It's important for you to know that the bigger your network is, the more people you can engage with, and the more people you can serve, the faster you'll reach your own goals. I tell people all the time, don't go in looking for what people can do for you. Go in understanding what the needs of other people are, and then finding ways for you to meet those needs. And you will always be welcome in every room. Your phone calls will be taken. The meeting will be accepted. When people will say, oh, this is the person that's coming to me. He understands my needs and wants to help me to meet them. Be that person.
And you said it. You said they will take your call. If they believe that you can handle a pain point, they will take your call and they will invite you in. Well, absolutely. This is a business of Black business. And I really want to thank Alfred. And I want to say to you, continued success, continue to do what you're doing and continue to make a difference. I'm proud of the things that you and Black Enterprise have accomplished over the years. And I am an absolute big fan. And I say that in the most sincere way. This is the business of Black business. I want to thank Legacy Magazine and all the people that make this happen. You guys can continue to do this. You guys continue to make this important because you're moving the community. And like Alfred said, education, entrepreneurship, it is a thing that's going to build a legacy business. I mean, a legacy life, in a better life for the people that are coming behind us. I always say that if it is to be, it's up to me. See you next time.